Yep, this is a pretty crappy way to start the video.
So how'd you like them toilets? Interesting yard art. That's in Craig, Missouri, and it is, we had actually seen it before, but I didn't get any pictures or get it on video or anything. But it's also on the Roadside America app, so it's a roadside stop. Stop and take a picture, have a seat, rest a little, I don't know. We're on a road trip. You probably kind of already guessed that. We've got some fun little stops. We've got a lot of places we're gonna stop and check things out. We are headed towards North Dakota. We have never been there before. And then we're gonna go ahead and head on west and go into Montana. And no, we've never been there before either. So hang around, come with us, see the things that we see.
Well, check that out. I'm gonna say old church. Could be a school. Make sure I'm not stuck. We're in Iowa. We're just north of Shenandoah, Iowa. I'm not gonna go in there, but I just kind of wanted to get a little close. Can't really see anything in those doors. That is pretty sweet though. We are in, okay, I don't know how to pronounce it, Avoca, A-V-O-C-A, Iowa. Look at the giant VW spider. This is hilarious. Another find on the Roadside America app. That is so cool. They even use Volkswagen hubcaps for the eyes. That thing is huge. That is sweet. Okay, there's the giant corn stalk. It's 76 foot tall. And it is on the corner of the on-ramp to I-80 at Shelby, Iowa. Exit 34. That's kind of cool. I thought 76 foot would look bigger than that, but it's still kind of neat. Looks like there's a whole little like park there, isn't there? See, there's like benches where you can get out and walk and sit and enjoy the giant corn stalk. We are stopped here. Honestly, I don't know where we are. Somewhere on I-29, still in Iowa, I believe. And there's Darby. We are taking a break for lunch, a late lunch. You know, now most people would probably go out to eat when they're traveling like this. But what do? We have PB&J on the bagels.
Cheap.
Very cheap. Darby's dumb. She wants to go home now. Well, that was a nice little lunch, quick stop, but it kind of made us think of something that we thought we might share with you guys. Kind of like our, how we, I guess, plan to take our trips. You know, as most of you probably know, he still works a job, you know, a 9 to 5. So we do, you know, vacation trips. You know, we do our weekend camping trips because we can do those pretty much almost any time. But like these long trips like this, we are limited to what, 2, maybe 3 a year. It sort of depends where we're going, what we're doing, you know, because obviously the longer distance probably is going to require more time off, and that's probably going to limit what we can do, how many times. But so the whole thing is, you know, we don't just like, you know, we didn't like decide yesterday, hey, we're going to go to Montana. You know, we actually, and this one was actually a little more last minute than what we prefer to do.
we had already decided that we were going to go to Colorado. We'd been there before, but we love Colorado, and we wanted to take the Hummer this time, and we wanted to do some off-road stuff, you know, like mountain trails and things, and camping. And we had this all planned out. We had all our little routes, we had all our little stops, knew where we were going, what we were going to do. And then I would say, what, a month ago, I was watching something on YouTube. I can't remember what it was, and I'm like, man, and it was about Montana. It's like, man, I want to do Montana. We haven't done it. So I told him that, and he's like, you know, let's do it. So that's how we ended up doing this trip, or deciding to do this trip. It was sort of way, unplanned for us. I know it was like a month, but it takes a lot of research for these little trips that we do, because, you know, I will do like that. I will check the Roadside America website, app, whatever, and make sure that there's not these funky little stops, because I love the quirky stops. So, you know, I'll do that. Make sure that there's not these cool things that we can stop and see along the way in different spots, you know, in the states that we're going through. And I mean, I will do that all the way from start to back, you know, basically back home. Obviously, we've already done most of the stuff, you know, in our home state and things. So that kind of, you know, but you get what I'm saying. I also, you know, like the big things that we want to see, the larger attractions, different, like, you know, we like to go to like the cemeteries and things like that. I will find out who's famous buried in a specific state, and then I'll find out where they're at. Are they going to be on the route or close to the route that we can, you know, detour off and go see them? That takes some time, because some states have a lot of famous people buried in them. So, you know, it can take time to map all that out and be like, okay, well, where is this town? Oh my gosh, well, where is that from where we're going to be? So that can be pretty time consuming, you know, just days wise. Now, I don't put it down to the time specifically. You know, I'm not like 8 o'clock in the morning, we are going to be here. But I do have it down to per day. We have got to do all this stuff in this day, and we will camp here that night. And if we have to skip something, we kind of know in our heads, okay, well, this is probably least important to us. So we will definitely make sure we hit the main things, and we just watch our time as we're going through the day, make sure that we have time for everything that I have down. But I do try to map the route as I'm going, and it's like, okay, well, it's going to take this much drive time, so I know we can't do this too, and I'll just leave it off the list. Or if we can keep it to this much drive time, we could throw this in too. You know, that's kind of how we do that, and we'll sit and map it all out. He'll get on like the Google Maps, and I'm like, well, where's this town? And he'll, you know, oh, well, that's kind of on the highway, and it's only this, you know, this far away, or something like that, you know. So we kind of work together on that. Usually the stops we make are kind of left up to me for the most part. Every once in a while he's like, okay, I want to do this if we're going here. So then I, you know, kind of have to plan around specific things. But that doesn't happen very often. I can't really think of anything specific.
Ronnie Van Zant.
Oh yeah, Ronnie Van Zant's burial in Jacksonville, which actually kind of worked out pretty good, because we were going to be in Jacksonville anyway when we went to see the magnetic squatch and stuff. So that all, you know, that worked out fine. But yeah, except for that he was kind of difficult to locate, because where we thought he was, he wasn't. If you didn't watch that video, go see that was something. But anyway, so that's kind of how we do that. Now the other things that I do is food, and that is a little different from depending on how we're camping. If we are using the Hummer, we are very limited on space. We are very limited. I mean, obviously we have like no refrigerator, so, you know, I have to be very careful what I take. We need non-perishable mostly foods, or if we do have the ice cooler with us, but it's, you know, we can't take a ton of stuff in that. You know, that's mainly for drinks, but I do have a few things in there that we're probably gonna go through. We're gonna eat within the first couple of days to get it going, basically. Now, when we go in the camper, if I know we're campground, or generator or whatever, and we're on shore power, you know, sky's the limit for the most part. As long as it's not something I gotta bake, you know, like I'm not gonna bake a 3-tiered cake while we're camping, but you know, you get my drift. Well, you know, kind of pretty much I can take hamburger and we can have burgers, we've done it, you know, that kind of thing. But now when we're in the Hummer, I have to make sure that we have, you know, enough food for every meal. And the way I did this is I laid out on the floor in our spare room, I literally laid out food for days of the week. You know, I didn't specifically say this is gonna be what's eaten on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I knew we were gonna be gone, you know, a certain amount of days, so I need a breakfast, lunch, and dinner for so many days. And I had them lined up on the floor, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I made sure and took, you know, like ramen, and we've got, you know, peanut butter. The jelly that we have is actually little packets of jelly. What else did I take? Like some pasta, canned foods, raviolis, things like that. Quick, easy warm-ups. And they don't require any kind of refrigeration. And if it gets really hot where we are, it's not going to hurt them. You know, so that kind of stuff. And this time, there was an extra concern, I think more for me than him. But you know, we're going to be in bear country. And I kind of made the mistake of looking up to see how often bears attack people in Montana. And unfortunately, somewhat recently, a poor lady was attacked. And, you know, so it kind of freaked me out a little bit. So we started really researching the bear thing, which we'd already purchased bear spray because we knew we were going to Colorado, and there's bears there too. But there's something about the ones in Montana that freaks me out. I think because they have more grizzly bears than like anybody, and they're mean, you know, and they're big, and you know, I really don't want to be their dinner. So I really looked this up and researched it, and you know, it's like they can smell, like, what did they say, 7 times better than people, or
Than a bloodhound.
Oh, than a bloodhound. So they're like, put everything in airtight containers, and I'm like, oh boy, I can't really do that. I don't really have that option because we don't have the space for that. So I did try to take things that were well sealed and Ziploc bags to put like the opened peanut butter in, and I don't even know what else I did, but you know, just things like that. I tried to take foods that weren't, I guess, extremely aromatic. I don't know. Didn't have strong scents. You know, I am not going to be cooking salmon patties while we're out in the forest camping. I refuse to do that. I feel like that's just like, here, bear, 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 because you know, I don't want to do that. I tried to do what I thought I could do with the food thing, so that took a little extra planning. And you know, I went and bought unscented chapstick, and you know, which is so boring, but I'd rather not have my lips bit off by a bear either, so you know, sacrifices. What I think he thinks I'm crazy, but man, I can't help it. I don't know what it is. I've never encountered a bear ever, you know, other than off in the distance running across the highway once. But to actually think that one would come in your tent or tear open your car door, bust your car window to get in and eat something, you know. So anyway, what else do we do? I think that's kind of it right? You know, we try to route everything out. Like I said, I'm not going to be down to the schedule on it. And if we do run across something that I missed, you know, it's like, oh, hey, there's, you know, well, then we'll stop if we've got time, or if it's really cool, you know. But pretty much that's kind of it, you know. Just sort of wing it with a plan. That's what I call it. We're winging it with a plan. There is like nothing out here. We're in northern South Dakota. We are on the interstate. We're on I-29. That's the only car we've seen for the last 3 hours. No, I'm kidding. There's others, but not a lot, as you can tell. I'm gonna flip this backwards. I don't know if you can see back there. See that road back there? There's nobody on it. Darby's back there though. Yeah, she's not happy. She's bored with the scenery too. There's nothing to look at. It's all corn and soybeans. Dinner.
Yummy.
Cheap.
Yep, very cheap. Just the way I like it.
Yep. Easy to make. Boil some water, pour it in, let it set for like 3 minutes, and it's ready to eat. We are at a rest area in North Dakota. I was going to try to get a picture of the North Dakota state sign. They don't have one, or at least not one that we've seen yet. I think we are probably, this is a pretty small rest area, but which I noticed there's a lot of traffic now. I can hear the traffic, but other than that, it seemed like it was not a lot of traffic. So thinking they don't get very busy at the rest areas. So we think we might try to sleep here tonight.
Yep.
In the Hummer. Obviously, we're not gonna tent camp tonight. I think tomorrow starts a new day, which means tomorrow starts a new video.
Oh.
Right?
Yep.
That's what I thought.